Hello everyone, this is Black Fist and Red Blades with the first time book review. I just finished a novel called Children of Blood and Bone by the author Tomi Adeyemi. I do not know how to pronounce it, but I will try. This is a YA novel about a teenage girl named Zélie Adebola who lives in an oppressive time of African fantasy where her people with white hair have their connection to the gods severed, taking away their magic by a tyrannical king. Over a decade has passed since the night of the raid, a genocidal sweep throughout the land where every adult Orishan with white hair is killed and strict enforcement is placed over the young that remain. There are threats of going to the stocks, a place of labor camp that is so bad that you can either wish to actually be in a brothel or you're just going to die of hard labor. There's high taxation and the possibility of rape just in general from many of the roaming guard. And all these are all too real as far as the threats that many of the people, including Zélie herself, have to deal with. It's personally painful for Zélie. As a young child, her mother was killed during the raid and her father was beaten to the point that his spirit was broken. For 10 years, the Cosidans have been ruling over the Orishans and treating everyone with white hair as a plague. However, things change when a princess named Amari discovers the remaining magical artifact, a scroll that can unlock the magic of the Orishan with a simple touch, giving them a fraction of their powers. After listening in on a meeting between the king and one of the captains in the guard, they brought in Binta to show what would happen when she actually touched the scroll. As her powers fruitioned, the king slew her without a second thought. With Binta being Amari's only true friend, she was heartbroken and did not know what to do as the oppressive life within the palace had left her alone and with nothing but depression. When she had the chance, she retrieved the scroll from the king's quarters and ran from the palace. As if a twist of fate, she soon ran into Zélie and her older brother Zane as the three embark on a journey to return magic to the Orishans and end the king's reign. This, however, comes with many obstacles as they learn what the ruler's powers has done to several cities scattered throughout the kingdom and the losses of many innocent lives. That's all I really want to say for now because I actually promote the book. The novel has great details when it comes to the scenes, as vivid images come into your mind whenever they describe some of the landscape. I love the characters and understand each of them with their individual plights. Zélie grew up in a world as a child that was unforgiving and always seemed like it was ready to kill her. She had harassment from male guards constantly looking at her as if they were going to assault her. With the loss of her mother, I understand her hatred and the pain towards the Cosidans who lived in Orisha. Amari herself was always sheltered and groomed only to be quiet and controlled by her mother within the palace, and the only levity was Binta, who was of course slain. Amari was hated by her family for being slightly darker than the others and was always being mistreated by her mother and family as if she were a plague. Only her brother Inan treated her with any love until things changed as they grew up, and he tried to win the approval of their father as he was in the army. With only her friend being a single form of joy and peace in the palace, it was obvious why she was willing to flee, especially with the scroll, in which case she wanted to try and prevent anyone else from facing such a senseless murder. Zane himself wanted to do all he could to protect his sister, and in such a harsh life, I understood his frustration as he wanted to protect Zélie at all costs with the loss of their mother. Since he had no white hair of his own, he was not the target of many guards and did what he could to take the attention away from Zélie. But her strong spirit did make things hard at times. I like each character in the main group. I can empathize with each of them and the situation that they personally deal with. It also makes sense why they would connect with each other once the traveling started. Now, Amari and Zane start to develop feelings for each other as they begin the travels. This makes sense since Amari was really just sheltered inside the palace where there were few other guys within the vicinity, while Zane found a Cosidan who was not trying to kill them and was actually trying to help them bring back magic in order to keep themselves safe. For Zélie and Amari, a sisterhood starts to form as the group travels together. With the cruelty of the king spurring everyone on to fight for their own freedom, the group grows to understand each other as they want to end any of the tyranny and the atrocities that the people have had to face from the king's forces. Later on in the story, another relation starts to form between an individual in the group and one outside. Though I understand why they had formed some form of feelings for each other, I do not get how quick it had developed without any real build-up. I feel that this should have been paced out a little more, but with the other events that were coming by, I wasn't so certain. I do feel like it might be a bit padded, but I'm fine with that. The story does have some slow moments when it comes to the settlements, but I am not so sure that they should be taken out. The chapters either develop the characters or move the plot along, and often it does both. And I do love the descriptions of the action scenes and the powers as they course through the bodies of the Magi, the Oricians that were awoken. It gives a quick glimpse into the senses as they unleash their fury. The king himself feels like a better than most antagonist. It is known that the death in his family caused him to go on a blood crusade to wipe out magic when he was in power. But so much of his past is vague since he is a generation past the story's timeline. You aren't certain to justify his abusive behavior or genocidal beliefs without more context. And when I say justify, I don't mean that it's okay to do that. I mean as in what would turn somebody into an enemy of such evil intent. There is another book out and continuing the story, so I hope to get more answers than that one. As far as Blood and Bone, the small hints leading to his past aren't enough in my opinion not to make him just seem generic. He doesn't have a viewpoint in the story like Inan, Amadi, and Zeli, but his motivations should be clarified in some form or manner. I do get he is the military vet who just keeps to himself most of the time because you can't show that sort of weakness as a warrior, but I need something more. It's not enough for me. Maybe that's just me, but I give this book an 8 out of 10. I love the story and I haven't read that many African fantasy novels. Gonna change that. But I recommend this story for anyone when they have the chance. This is Black Fists and Red Blades, signing out.